What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We got another video. You ever just watch, you see these ads basically of a game, and when you download the game, it's not the game, right? We're basically watching a video about that. My one that I always see, this one called Heroes Quest or some shit, always fuck, and never it. It's never it. Anyway, let's watch a video.
This is a YouTube advertisement for a mobile game called Ebony the King's Return. You've probably seen this ad, or ads just like it, a million, billion, jillion times before, right? But if you go to the App Store on your phone and
when you see the person on it, like, let me go back a bit. See if I can. No, alright, wait, let's do it like this then. Probably find it. Oh, no, I'm going forward. I'm so stupid. Oh my god.
This is a YouTube advertisement for a mobile game called Ebony the King's Return. You've probably seen this ad, or ads just like it, a million...
There. When they have the person on it. At this point, I think it's just an AI. Or maybe... Actually, no, it's probably them working with the person.
Billion, jillion times before, right? But if you go to the App Store on your phone and you download this game, you will quickly realize that the game you see in this ad does not exist. Ebony is a game about city building. You build an empire and level up your town hall and all that good stuff.
That's what they always do. Like, they make the game, show that ad, and I don't understand, because isn't that false advertising?
But despite the fact that this ad is a lie, this marketing strategy is clearly very effective. This game has over 100 million downloads on the Google Play.
And 3.8? How do you have that? It's not a 5, it's not a 4, but 3.8 is still not a 1. If you get what I mean.
Store. So you might be thinking to yourself, why would a company even do this? What do they stand to gain by tricking over 100 million people into downloading a game that doesn't even exist? Well, I can answer your question in just one word. Whales. And when you think of whales, you might think of, you know, big giant creatures swimming through the sea, or maybe, you know, the country with hills and sheep and stuff.
When I think of whales, I think about, like, people who spend a bunch of money on games, because I've played phone games before, so if you've played long enough, you know the term, the gotcha terms.
But a mobile game developer, when they think of a whale, they think of this guy. His name is Daigo, and he is completely and utterly addicted to a mobile game called Fate Grand Order. He spends basically every waking moment of his life playing this game, and at the time of this Wall Street Journal video being released, he had spent roughly $70,000 on the game.
Bro, I can barely spend $60 on the game. How do you spend 70 grand? I can't even spend $60.
So much money that he couldn't actually state an exact figure. And perhaps the most shocking part of it all is that he doesn't regret spending a single penny. This right...
I spent $60 and I don't like the game. I regret it. You spent $70K and you still enjoy it? Are you...
Here is the lifeblood of your average free-to-play mobile game. Maybe your game gets 100 million downloads, but the overwhelming majority of those players won't spend a single penny on... Yeah,
I think like the split is on 99-1. You got 90% of the players are just cool, normal people. 9% would like spend a little amount of money, and then you have the 1% which are whales.
Your game. Many of them will quit after just a couple of hours. A small percentage of players will spend small amounts of money here or there just to make the game more fun for them. But then a very small number of people will spend astronomical amounts of money on the game. So much money that it makes up for all of the other people who never spent a penny combined. And
exactly, these people disgust me. And I respect them because they are the persons who allow us to play for free.
The more downloads your game gets, the more whales you get. According to some sources, only about 2% of all mobile game players turn out to be whales. Yet they are responsible for spending the overwhelming majority of the money that the mobile gaming industry makes each year. And 2% of 100 million downloads is a whole lot more whales than 2% of 10,000 downloads. So an advertisement like this, which just flagrantly shows you a game that isn't real, is doing its job exactly right. All this ad needs to do is convince you to download the game. That's it. Because yeah, sure, 90% of people are going to uninstall it basically immediately, and 98% of people won't spend a penny. But those 2% make so much money that from the gaming company's perspective, all of this lying and cheating is worth it in the end. And it makes the biggest mobile game developers billions.
Tencent, NetEase, Playrix. I don't know what Playrix is. MiHoYo. I think they are, what do you call them again? That can't, you know, Genshin. King, that's Candy Crush. Skullpl. I never heard about this one. Bankai Danko. We know who banned like Roblox. Oh my god, that fucking game. Dream Games. I think I've heard that name in Zenga. I know that one. I think that's Gameloft. Tencent, NetEase, 2, 3. 3 of them come from China. Damn.
Of dollars every year. But you're all probably thinking to yourself the exact same thing right now. This is just false advertising.
Yes.
Isn't false advertising meant to be illegal? Don't these companies get sued into the ground for advertising a game that's completely fake? Well, in theory, yes. False advertising is illegal and it can get you into some serious trouble. But in
practice, they do get
these companies aren't actually breaking the law. You see, when I said this game didn't exist, I was almost telling the truth. Because this game you see in the advert
should he get...
does exist inside of Evany the King's Return. See, it's a mini game that you can play inside of Evany. You can play it for free for about half an hour before the levels run dry and you have to start engaging with the base building mechanics that most of the game is centered around. So to any government
So it's a bait and switch?
Agency looking in, you didn't technically falsely advertise your product. This game is inside the mobile app that it's advertising. It's not false advertising, it's just disingenuous advertising. And disingenuous isn't illegal, so they get away with it. Now, there are some games that do
but I feel like it is more like a bait and switch, because like they bait you. And, well, they do give you a little of the game, but it's not what you're there for, basically. So it is a bait and switch.
A much worse job of pretending to be the game from the ad. Like, whilst I was researching this video, I played a game called Top War Battle Game that, as far as I could tell, wasn't even trying to pretend to be the game from the ad. So I have no idea how companies like these get away with it. But generally, the game in the ad will be somewhere inside the app at some point. They run an ad that shows a game that looks kind of fun, so it convinces you to download the game. You play this little mini game,
and the thing is, it doesn't even look kind of fun. You just see them doing it so badly. They're like, what? I can do this so better.
For half an hour before quickly realizing that the bulk of the game is not really what you signed up for. And this is where most people just uninstall the game and never think about it again. But for that tiny 2% of players, they get hooked on what the rest of the game contains, and they spend money again and again, and they single-handedly bankroll the entire company that makes the game for years to come. Now, if you've been on the internet for a while and have a relatively good memory, you might also remember these adverts. These ones are similarly infamous for being completely fake and not representing the game at all. In fact, these ones are so infamous that they actually made an entire ad campaign that literally commented on how their ads are fake.
Guys, didn't y'all believe that all those puzzle ads were fake? And there's no such game? But today, I finally found the game. Evany the King's Return.
Honestly, this one is so bold in just like doubling down on the lie that I honestly kind of respect it. But these ads were all over the internet a few years back, just blatantly showing a game that they had no intention of actually letting you play for more than 10 minutes. But these ads were discontinued a long time ago, and they've not been running for years. And when you download Evany, this old game is nowhere to be found, which sheds a light on another strategy these mobile game companies use to advertise their game. They use what's called A/B testing. They will create a bunch of different adverts and then roll them all out onto YouTube all at once. Then they look at the statistics to see which of these ads performed the best and which of them resulted in the most downloads for the game. Whichever of these ads that they created that does the best rest will be kept and the rest will get discarded. They then take the successful ad and they make some iterations of it, changing, you know, details here and there inside the ad. Then they roll out those ads again and measure their success. And they do this over and over again until they have the perfect ad to get as many downloads as possible for their game.
I mean, like, think about it. If you were in this company's position, would you not also do the same thing? Like, it's a brilliant idea. Like, come on.
And the most important part of all is that whatever minigame they decide to show in the advert is literally completely made up from scratch. And if one of the fake minigames in the ad starts to do well as an ad campaign, they then start making the minigame for their app to match the ad. Funnily enough, most products usually start, you know, making the product first, and then they make the ad to reflect the product.
But why not just make the game? Like, that's one of my general, like, why not just make the game that you're advertising? It's just not as monetizable as the city builder.
Mobile game companies start with the ad, and the moment this ad stops working as well as it used to, the moment people start to catch on that the game they're being advertised is completely fake, the company then changes their entire ad campaign. Make a brand new ad with a brand new fake game and spread it far and wide, starting the cycle all over.
Like, doesn't one pay attention to the game? Like, when like, let's say, different ad for the same game. But wouldn't you realize it's the same game being advertised again to you, even though it's a different ad? You get what I'm saying? I feel like you get what I'm saying.
Again. Now, whilst I was researching this video, there was one thing that I just couldn't get my head around for the longest time. If you're a mobile game company and you have an ad that looks like this, that is insanely popular, why not just make your
He's asking the questions for me.
Entire game look like this? Like, it's clearly super popular.
Exactly.
People like it a lot and it convinces them to download your game. And there are literally thousands of negative reviews on the App Store page talking about how mad they are about the false advertising. So if you get all this backlash from your scummy marketing strategy, why not just make the entire game be just like the super popular ad campaign?
I was also saying, like, it could just be like it's not as monetizable as the city builder
that your team came up with. Well, this is where we get to the saddest and most insidious part of the story. You see, whales are only half of the money-making strategy that these game companies employ. Because even if you get 100 million downloads on your app, even if 2 million whales rock up to your app cash in hand, you still have to convince those whales to spend their money in the first place. And this is where we get to the nasty.
I was right.
Part. The reason Ebony is a base builder, and the reason it's been a base builder for its entire lifetime, is because the base builder game is created from the ground up by very intelligent people with one single goal in mind: to be as addictive and manipulative as possible in order to get you to feel pressured into spending your money. And once you've started spending your money, it's designed to keep you spending it over and over again.
You see, once you play one gacha game, like these games will, let me rephrase. Once you play one gacha game and not become a whale, these tactics will never get you. Like, if you just stick free to play the entire time, you'll realize all of these tactics and they'll never get you, because you're like, why would I do this when I could just, like, just don't get addicted to the game, man. Just don't spend your money. You might say, oh, it's hard, but that's literally what you need to do. You can't wait on anybody to do it. You can't wait on the universe to, like, help you and say, oh, you just gotta decide, like, I'm not gonna spend my money on this fucking game, and, well, not spend your money on the fucking game. You just have to literally do it.
Whales aren't just whales because they're stupid and have too much money on their hands. They're whales because they are unfortunately addicted to a game that they are willing to waste tens of thousands of dollars on. And this little mini game of enemies running down the lanes at you just isn't good at making whales spend their money. It's very good at convincing people to download a game. It's fantastic marketing, but the downside of this mini game is that it's hard to monetize. Whereas a base builder, or an anime RPG is incredibly easy to monetize, and they use all of the nastiest little tricks in the book that you can possibly think of to manipulate people into spending their money. They slow your progression through the game to a crawl and then offer you the ability to buy your progression back. They intentionally don't make their games too skill-based so that you'll be more willing to just buy chances to win. They offer you limited time deals to make you feel pressured into spending money literally right now, or else the deal goes away. They make desirable characters, skins, or items impossible to directly buy and make.
They make characters for gooners to goon to. I was trying to think of that one game that the girls are like there with the gun and then behind something, and every time they shoot you see the ass a jiggle. We know what they're trying to do. Gooners, man, gooners.
Make it so that the only way to access them,
they're trying to get whales and gooners. Gooner whales
is through loot box mechanics that are completely random. In fact, there's this really scary, disgusting video on the internet called Let's Go Whaling, where this guy, this evil, dirty fucking bastard of a man, goes on a massive 20-minute talk about just how he monetizes a mobile game. And it is genuinely like staring in the face of Satan himself.
Yeah, alright, we can call him all these, but he's a genius because he knew how to make money from people. He's probably a billionaire. Well, not billion, but maybe a millionaire. And that's the thing, you just gotta know with people. Like, we people don't give a fuck. If they can manipulate you to get your money, they will. You just can't.
I won't go over the entire.
I'm not saying you can't trust people, but you just gotta be careful.
A video here, I'll just link it in the description for you to watch the whole thing, and I really do recommend you watch it because he goes over every dirty little trick in the business that mobile game companies use to pathologize spending money. And after you've finished watching that video, and after this guy has made you really angry, just think that there are dozens of people.
I wouldn't watch that video because I'll just get ideas. Because again, it's bad, sure. But it's also genius. If you want to make money, make a mobile game.
Just like this guy, that work at the biggest and most profitable gaming companies in the world,
EA,
and
Blizzard,
they spend every
EA
moment
again.
of their working lives trying to weasel their way into your mind and into your wallet. So that is why the mobile game company can't just make their entire game look like the ad. Because the game in the ad looks much more fun to play, but it's much worse at slyly convincing people to part with their hard-earned cash. And you might be sat at home thinking to yourself, well, I would never be dumb enough to fall for this stuff. I have never spent a penny on a mobile game in my life.
Well, no,
and that's just the thing. Because you're probably right. You probably wouldn't fall for this stuff. But there are people out there that do. And they fall for it really hard. And as much as you might not want to admit it, those people are just like you and me. They're not dumber than you. They're not necessarily less able to see it for what it is than you are. They're just more prone to falling into these addiction traps than you are. They are being manipulated in one way or another by a bunch of people in suits, just like this fucker, who spend their lives abusing quirks of human psychology to make themselves insanely rich at the expense of everyday people just like you. So
okay, fine. Alright, wait. Yeah, we could say that, but like, fuck Diego for being stupid, man. Why? Over 70 grand and you can't realize you have a problem. And even if you do realize you have a problem, you don't want to fix it. You don't regret it. Look at all these figurines. Not all of them are even fake figurines. So you can tell Diego has more than a problem. He has an American Captain America shield here. He has a bunch of games here, a Switch, probably a PS4, maybe. Is that an Xbox camera? That's not an Xbox camera. Gundam, figurines, Mega Man, bigger figurines. This is look, Diego has a problem and he just doesn't want to fix it. We can blame the mobile games all we want, yeah, but we also have to. When does personal responsibility become a thing is what I'm saying.
If you're ever watching YouTube and you see a mobile game ad that looks appealing to you, please, for the love of God, don't click on it. Because clicking on it is exactly what they want you to do. Thanks for watching.
Oh, there then. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. I already actually said what I needed to say, because again, when does personal responsibility become a thing for them? Like, yeah, you are being manipulated, but it's your fault if you fall for the manipulation sometimes, especially like if it's a continuous thing, especially if it's a mobile game addiction. Like, just stop playing. You can delete the app. You can get rid of your phone. You don't have to live with a phone. You know that, right? Like, if you can't delete the app, get rid of your phone. If you need to text or call people, use on that other way, because obviously you can't have a phone because you're addicted to this mobile game and you're spending obscene amount of money. You see what I mean? There's many ways to stop. When does personal responsibility become a thing? But anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, and subscribe if whatever. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.